Yes! Hey, salut tout le monde! Bon Rhino numéro quoi, la gang? Numéro 8. Donc, on entame, ouais, c'est comme, on ne sait plus comment le faire. On entame notre deuxième semaine déjà de Rhino. Et aujourd'hui, j'ai vraiment le grand privilège. C'est drôle parce que hier, Chantal me présentait en disant « Je présente mon mentor, j'ai le privilège de… » Bien, aujourd'hui, c'est moi qui ai le privilège de présenter un de mes mentors, Abigail. Donc, pour ceux et celles qui ne la connaissent pas, Abigail, c'est notre rang 10. OK? C'est une des rangs 10 dans la compagnie, mais pour nous, OK, dans notre branche, c'est une rang 10. Donc, quand on parle de femmes fortes, de femmes puissantes, puis de femmes qui avancent comme un rhino no matter what, bien, moi, dans ma tête, je pense à Abigail tout le temps. Donc, rang 10, c'est combien de volumes de vente en un mois? Est-ce que vous le savez? Marquez-le en commentaire. C'est beaucoup de boîtes de qui tombent. Énormément. OK? C'est 1 million de volumes de vente par mois. Donc, Abigail l'a fait dans le passé. Et en ce moment, je sens que avec tout ce qui se passe le mois de septembre, la frénésie qu'on est en train de créer au French Tsunami, je sens que là, ça commence à vouloir monter l'énergie vers le haut. Donc, j'ai vraiment hâte d'entendre Abby aujourd'hui. So, Abby, I was telling that you are a rank 10. And I was telling to the people that when I think about a woman, a strong woman with a big vision, I always think about you. Because for me, you are a fucking rhino, you are a strong woman, and you are a badass. So today, it's 7 years for Prove It. And I know you are there since the beginning. So I would love to you to share your story with Prove It, but also the story of Prove It, because you were there since the beginning, since the day one. So maybe you can share with us. Are you ready? They are.
Sure,
they are for you.
Let's go. Yeah. Thank you for just those words. Those are really sweet. Have to excuse me. I've had like strep or cold all week. I keep taking a COVID test and my husband's like, we did used to get sick without it being COVID. And I'm like, true, right? It's just a cold. So, but super happy to be here. Happy to share just a little window glimpse of what it was 7 years ago for all of you who are carrying on the conversation and the movement. And just on a personal note, I'm so thankful for this team and Mick and Camille and your organization and Emily, just how hard everybody has worked. And you have been such a blessing to my life and my business. And that's not lost on me. So you guys are the fastest growing team in our organization. And I'm very grateful for those of you who wake up and commit to this every day and being a part of this. So thank you. And it's an honor to talk to you guys. 7 years ago, just a little background that could be just relatable is I was very much struggling financially. And I don't use the word struggle often because we have to be careful that with that language makes us feel like we're in a chokehold. Like, what is struggling, And that's how it felt. Have any of you experienced feeling just that weight of finances in your life? It's heavy. It can be very heavy. And I was a personal trainer at the time. And I had just had a newborn baby who I was paying someone else to watch while I went to the gym all insane hours of the day. Because when you're a trainer, you're usually training before people go to work and when they come home. So it's like, ugh. I was burned out and I missed my baby when I'd be at work. And I would pay the gym owner a cut. And then I'd pay my babysitter a cut. And then I'd barely bring anything home to help with our financial crisis. And so I remember I had done a short season with Brian James, who is the leader of this organization. And I had been a killer saleswoman in that, and not a team builder. I didn't understand that. And it was with a company that I feel like my specialty helped me. And I remember as I was exiting that space, I thought to myself, if I ever do community-based marketing again, I want it to be with a product that the common stay-at-home mom with no personal training, with no health background, could be able to share with her friends and make legit income. I didn't want another protein powder or another vitamin that people could buy off the shelf at Walmart. I wanted to build something with a hero product that anybody who worked hard could have a win at. And I told him that, and we kind of went our ways. I said, if you ever hear of anything and you know what I mean by it, let me know. Maybe it was 3 years later, and Brian James called me and said, I've got it. What do you know about ketones or ketosis? Guess what? That's still the play that works. It worked 7 years ago. What do you know about ketones and ketosis? And I was a haughty trainer, remember? So I was like, oh, hey, I know a lot. It's, I don't really use it, but I'll get on a call with you next week. And then I researched it. And at the time, there wasn't a lot of research. It was like the diabetic conversation where people get confused about ketoacidosis. Just wasn't a lot out there, guys. It was a tough conversation at the time to have because it was an educational conversation. And now look where we're at 7 years later with the industry. You say ketones and people don't even think about diabetics anymore. And people thought they were going to die of too many ketones 7 years ago. So we've so come a long way. It's like the #1 Google diet, that's prove it. That's prove it's marketing. And so I remember getting on a call with him, and guess what? He connected me to a third party because I knew Brian. And so we were familiar, right? And this is why we train and teach that you can get someone on the hook with a relationship, but then you got to go borrow somebody's credibility and influence who's a third party, right? This is why we use third-party resources. You open the door, you build the relationship, you get them on the hook, and then you go share a video, or you go share Dr. Andy or Dr. Heather talking about it. You find their problem and you connect them with the third-party resource. And that's what I did. And I started talking with Brian Underwood, and they started getting on calls and learning the language because it was very unfamiliar. And that's what we can do with YouTube videos. Like there's so much a new person can do when coming in to educate themselves. And so that's what I did. And then one day in, I think it was November. No, it was December. It was December. They said, hey, we want you to fly out to Balboa Resort in California and preview the technology. Guys, I didn't have a dime. I couldn't afford a flight. So that was Christmas. That went on the credit card. And I took a flight out there, and Brian James was out there, and Michael Rutherford, Michael Beal, a guy named Tony Freeman, who's a huge bodybuilder. Dr. Dom was there, had dinner with him and his wife. And there were a couple others. But I remember sitting around, Chris Harding. I remember sitting around a round table, and being like, where am I and who are these people? What on earth? And I had been practicing the keto diet before I got there, just to try and see what ketosis felt like. I'd had a little glimpse of it, but really struggled to get my body in ketosis. And they gave us all a sample of that white crack, white powder. And I remember just going, it just felt like 8 light bulbs went on in my brain that had never been turned on before. It was like the cobwebs got cleared out. And I remember thinking I could sit here all day at this meeting, and wasn't hungry, like just felt like I was firing on different engines. Does anybody kind of feel, I think if you've been on ketones a while, you forget what normal feels like. And so from there, they also told me that I needed to, I thought they were paying for my hotel and they weren't. And they were staying in one of the nicest, fanciest hotels in California. So I remember calling home crying. And my husband at the time had to take out another credit card for me to put the hotel on it. And, but guys, I share that because I don't take excuses for people. Like, that situation taught me that if you want to do it, you'll find a way to do it. And for the next 7 years, people would be looking at me like I had money and like I couldn't relate with them. I had a girl that I offered a 10-pack yesterday to do a trial pack, and said she couldn't afford it. And I made her a $40 coupon and she still couldn't afford it. And sometimes we just want to be like, well, I'll give it to you because we know how it works. But I've learned when I hear that to back up and think about like, who am I talking to? Because nobody could stop me from spending over $3,000 for a 3-day trip to go find out what this is about before we ever became a company. Because I knew I needed to change something in my life to get a different result than what I was living. And it just so happened that the product was awesome and that it was unlike anything on the marketplace. So you have a crazy, awesome, unique hero product that nobody else has. And then you have a company that is like doing something uniquely different in blue ocean waters and is not the same as others. And the piece where you win or fail is the desire of yourself. It's the consistency and the moves that you're willing to make to then bring it all together. And I always want to go back to that and share that, because I came from nothing, but I had a hungry desire. I think probably a background in athletics taught me some discipline and teamwork. But I've seen girls that have ounce squat athleticism, some of my friends who have done more than me in this company, that probably had less skill set than I did, but they had a crazy burning desire. And I actually had this conversation with my 10-year-old daughter in the car the other day about how I couldn't teach her how to have a burning desire. I can go out and I can practice with her every day. I can get her on the best teams, but she's going to get beat out someday and she'll get cut. And going out and doing the activity every day, it's still not going to take it to the top. Like, it is something in here that can't be taught. And I think that's why at this company, we do such an incredible job at personal development and really looking at motivation and assessment of where you're at and then trying to give people the skills and tools to move to a different space. Because that is the thing. That's the one thing. Like, you got the hero product. It works, guys. You've got an amazing company. The things they give, the resources, the tools, the training, it's crazy. But the difference between you being here and you being here, it's not this, it's not that, it's not out there. It's not, oh, if we had a better comp plan, oh, if we had more resources, like we had nothing at the time. It's you. Like it's in here. And that can't be taught or trained, but it can be found. Does that make sense? Can't be taught or trained, but it can be found. And that's up to you to find that. And we can get on these calls and we can motivate. There can be a little high and a little sprint, but it's in here, it's on you. And so I think that the story of Prove It starting 7 years ago is the same story that it is today. Hero product, amazing company. And what are you going to do with it? Michael Rutherford was living in his mother-in-law's basement, fat hippie, no money at the time. I remember looking over at him and being like, who is this guy? What is he doing here? But you know what? He had this. Oh man, did he have this in here, right? He didn't have the skill set I had probably. He had more of this, and I had a lot of this. So that's a little glimpse into my background, and you can kind of see how far we've come in 7 years, but it's all the same. What do you know about ketones and ketosis? Get on the phone with my friend who's let's borrow their credibility and influence till you see the big picture of it. And then let me hold your hand. And Brian James held my hand to the finish line. And that finish line was the night the gates opened, because I had been looking at other things too. I was trying to see what move I wanted to make. I needed to make a big risky move. And I wasn't sure I was going to do this, because I had to wait 6 months from that time to the night we opened the gates. And he texted me that night. I think it was, don't be a moron, don't be an idiot, something like that. And he got me to the finish line, which was helping launch the company. And so, here's what I know. If you're new, it's all about phase 1 activity. And you got to build, you got to gain momentum, you got to run hard. You have to have a lot of conversations every day. And then it's about coaching, and it's about leadership and staying in a little bit of that phase 1 activity, because the day you come out of phase 1 activity, your momentum starts to die and people follow your pace. And I think that's the hard part of being at maybe a 6 or a 7, is transitioning your time from phase 1 activity into coaching and getting other people up and running with that phase 1 activity. And sometimes that feels like maybe you're not working as hard, but like there's only enough hours in a day, and we're here to build wealth. And so that's building teams, and that takes relationships and personal development and coaching. And so where I'm at in my business is in a phase called tap rooting. All right. Got this huge organization that's been built. And I've gone through some seasons in my life where I've stepped out of that phase 1 activity. And so momentum has slowed down, and some other people have done the same. And right now, my job I see every day is to get back in and find out. It's tap rooting. It's going on level 7. And if there's somebody with a little burning desire, locking in with them, creating some volume, because what that does is it drifts up through the organization, and it slowly might bring other people back to life. So there's all different cycles and phases of this business because it's an exciting business and your role continually changes, and it's just, it doesn't get boring. But I tell you, the most exciting phase is when you're getting started and you just got to create a really big mess of people who want to be a part of the conversation or taking ketones every day. I love that phase. I think it's really exciting. But like I said, to build wealth, it can take on some new roles over time. And we have all the resources, and we even have a weekend called Leadership Dynamics and Coaching, right? Because it gets into that. So I think with that, I think that's pretty good. That was the night it opened. That's my story. And that's what I'm sticking to. So
you cover so much stuff that we discussed in the last week. All my question, you put the answer. That was perfect. Perfect. And I had one question, but I think you already said it, the answer. But oh, sorry, my light. You see so much people in the last 7 years succeed, right? And my one question, and I know the answer, but what those people have in common? Why? We see so much people, everyone can succeed and prove it. But what is the one thing?
Yeah.
And I think you said it, it's the burning desire.
Burning desire. That's the two words I was just going to say. You said, yeah.
So,
do you think Mick has it though, Camille? Do you think?
Yeah, I think yes. I think
yes. He never stops.
No, never. So I will just do it in French. Mais les gens, j'espère que vous avez compris. Tu sais, souvent on veut la recette magique. Puis j'ai demandé à Abigail, ça fait 7 ans que tu es dans la compagnie, ça fait 7 ans que tu vois des gens réussir. Puis pour ceux et celles qui ne le croient pas encore, c'est là que les événements sont super importants. Mais tout le monde peut réussir dans Prove It. C'est pas un type de personne qui réussit, c'est pas un autre type de personne, c'est vraiment tout le monde. Si vous seriez à Epic, c'est tout le monde qui peut réussir. Puis quand je dis tout le monde, là, c'est toutes sortes de monde, tout âge confondu, hommes, femmes, peu importe. Puis la chose que j'ai demandé pour justement ces gens-là qui réussissent, c'est quoi la chose en commun qu'ils ont? Puis c'est drôle parce qu'avant que je pose la question, vous en avez déjà parlé. C'est ça ici. C'est le hit. C'est le désir. Parce que la motivation, c'est pas quelque chose qui s'enseigne ou qui se donne. C'est quelque chose, puis on vous en dit souvent, ça, je le sais qu'on vous le dit souvent, mais c'est quelque chose qui émane de vous. Puis il y a une chose qu'elle a dit que j'ai trouvé ça vraiment bon, c'est que si en ce moment tu sens que tu ne l'as pas, ce désir-là, tu ne peux pas te le faire enseigner, tu ne peux pas te le faire donner, mais tu peux toi-même le débarrer. Tu peux toi-même le déterrer, tu peux toi-même le trouver. Parce que c'est là, à l'intérieur de toi, on l'a tous ici, ce désir-là, de vouloir plus, de vouloir mieux, d'avoir une liberté, d'avoir plus d'argent, peu importe. Donc, yes. Thank you, Abby. So, do we have some question? Oh, Mick, you have a question?
Yes, I have 2 questions. The first one is more serious and probably the hardest to answer, but who's the coolest Michael in Prove It? You can say the word, by the way. You can say it. Like,
well, I think there's only one left. So Michael Rutherford.
Pretty cool. Okay, good. But my real question. Oh, there's a fly. Yeah. My real question is, because you did, like, people don't understand how big it is to get a business to a million. Like I'm trying to understand and I'm trying to figure it out how to do it myself. But in order to do like a million, and what I want is to help people to raise their own awareness toward, like, through you. So what will be the 3 takeaways that you have from doing that 10? Like, it can be after, it can be lesson, it can be like advice. Just Like the three first thing that pops up in your mind.
Team. The night I hit it, I was in Walt Disney World, and there are probably 6 to 8 COCs trying to get other people to COC that night. It was coming down to the wire. And I remember this rank 7 was on a call with 5 girls. This rank 6 was on a call with a team of 7 trying to get this girl to COC. It all magically comes together. It's not magic. It feels like it, but you don't hit it until you have leaders leading and helping other people get up there. So when that stops, everything falls. So that's one, is it happens when you've got leaders all over the organization taking control of their business without you in it or not. Like, they have to be empowered. And so I'm going to say that. And then I'm going to say, in getting there, Camille, do you want to cut in on that real quick?
La chose qui a fait en sorte que Abigail, elle a eu son rang 10, à ce moment-là, elle était à Walt Disney. Puis ce qu'elle disait, c'est que chaque leader de son équipe, son rang 7, son rang 6, s'aidaient entre eux pour s'élever. C'est comme si, mettons, exemple, c'est comme si Émilie, elle faisait un team call avec son équipe, Daniel fait avec la sienne, Chantal avec la sienne, Mel avec la sienne, peu importe, mais tout le monde s'est mis à travailler en synergie, ce qui a fait en sorte que tout le monde s'est élevé. Puis Abigail, elle a eu le 10 grâce à ça. Donc, c'est vraiment comme une synchronicité, si je peux dire ça comme ça, que tout le monde s'est mis ensemble.
2 things to help that happen. 1 is edification. The business had to be at a point where it was not about Abby. It was about Lisa, April, Anna, Dr. Heather, Adam Nally. Like, it was about them. And so as leaders, we have to put the up and coming in the spotlight. Like I said, I wouldn't have this organization without you guys. And the spotlight of Mick has to go to Emily, who has to go to Emma, to Jess, to Audrey. And there's a phase, Audrey, where you are in the spotlight, and it has to be about you because everybody needs to follow you and your influence and your coaching. And to do that, Emily has to come edify you and set you up for that. Go ahead, Camille.
Est-ce que ça se dit en français, édifier? Édifier les autres, qu'à un moment donné, je le remets toujours dans notre histoire à nous parce que ça vous fait comprendre, mais c'est pas Mick et Bobo, c'est Émilie, c'est Dania, c'est Chantal, c'est Marie-Claude, c'est Mel, c'est Marianne, je pourrais toutes vous nommer. C'est vous qui faites en sorte que tout ça s'élève, vous comprenez? Donc, puis, ce que je trouve incroyable, je ne sais pas si vous le sentez que c'est ça qui se crée en ce moment, juste le fait d'avoir des Rhino, puis d'avoir d'autres gens qu'on édifie, qu'on met sur le spotlight, qui vous enseignent des choses, c'est ça. C'est ce qui fait que l'équipe grandit, que le leadership grandit. Parce que c'est plus juste une question de Mick et moi. C'est une question de comment je peux faire pour que d'autres s'élèvent, soient sur le spotlight et inspirent d'autres. Puis à un moment donné, ça va être Chantal qui va mettre d'autres mondes sur le spotlight pour l'édifier. Fait que c'est tout le temps une question de passer le flambeau.
And so I think number 2, and the person I've seen do this better than anyone I've ever seen is Brian James. You are, and Michael Rutherford gave me this analogy, which I love. Actually, I hate it because I hate snakes, but he said, like, when you're little and you're at a creek, kids, boys, some weird girls, they turn over rocks and they like to see all the little bugs, you know, go out. And every now and then you'll find a snake under those rocks. And once you find that, you hold on to that. I want to erase that because I just hate snakes and it's not getting the story done for me. Let me give you one other. You're a monkey. You are a monkey and you're swinging through the forest. Okay. And you find a branch that you can grab onto. Okay. And that takes you a different direction. And you start grabbing onto this branch and this branch and this branch. And, oh, I ran out of branches. I got to go over here and grab this vine and this vine so I can keep swinging through the jungle. And that's how this business is. Mm-hmm. You get everybody on the ketones. Everybody's a customer. Everybody's a raving fan. But the minute you find that next vine to land on, you exhaust it until you find a vine in a different direction, willing to go the same pace. And this is what in the beginning, like I remember, it wasn't the guy I signed up. And I'll just give you it wasn't Adam White. It wasn't Paul. It wasn't even Charles Poliquin, the #1 coach in the world for strength and conditioning. I met Adam, who introduced me to Paul, who introduced me to Charles Poliquin. I had to fly to Denver and have dinner with him because he did not do business with anyone he didn't sit down with and shake hands. So I flew to Denver and had dinner with a man who would later introduce me to Nate Justice. So out of those 4, guess where the vine was? Mm-hmm. Nate Justice. Stay here. Now I teach Nate how to swing through. Guess who Nate finds? A guy named Jim, who did a lot. And so I would travel to Canada. And I remember in the dead of winter going to libraries in high school and talking to people about ketones in these little provinces I had never heard of before, you know, but I wasn't there to be the Abby talking about ketones. I was there to teach Nate and Jim how to talk about ketones. Their job was to bring the people. My job was to train and mentor. And guess who went to Sweden last week to go talk about ketones, right? Nate Justice. So he's still doing the activity, and they found Mick. And so you keep swinging and you keep going until you find a vine you can land on. And then you invest in that person. And that's where Brian James would be traveling all over the world just for that one teammate. He used to come to Kansas City when I first started. And then he went to Canada with Nate and Jim on a trip one time when I wasn't there. Because that's what you do as a leader. You go develop where the fire is. So you find the fire and you just work it until it's out. And then you go find another fire. And that's how, in that moment, you rank up. Because for months and months and maybe years, you've been developing and pouring gas on these fires. And then all of a sudden in 1 month, it just goes, and you guys are a rank 8, 9, 10 legend. So, yeah.
L'histoire, c'est l'histoire de... Imaginez un singe dans une forêt qui se promène de liane en liane, puis voyez les lianes comme étant tous les gens que vous recrutez, qui sont des promoteurs. Puis à un moment donné, tu te promènes de liane en liane, t'aides les promoteurs qui sont là, mais à un moment donné, il y a un promoteur qui est vraiment en feu. Fait que cette liane-là, tu la tiens, puis tu lui donnes du gaz. Puis tu sais, ce qui a fait en sorte que elle a réussi justement à développer une partie de cette branche-là avec Nate, avec nous, bien, c'est pas... Là, je me souviens plus des noms, là, mais il y avait quand même 4 personnes avant de trouver Nate. Donc, tu sais, quand tantôt, elle parlait du taprooting, c'est souvent, on se sent mal à l'aise, on dirait d'aller parler aux promoteurs de nos promoteurs, mais il ne faut pas avoir cette crainte-là, au contraire. Puis, si vous êtes un leader puis que votre leader fait ça, il ne faut pas le voir d'une mauvaise façon non plus. Ce n'est pas un manque de confiance, c'est juste une façon d'élever tout le monde puis de s'entraider. Le teamwork exact. Donc, aller là où que le feu est, souvent dans cette business-là, ce que j'ai remarqué, c'est qu'on veut vraiment aider tout le monde puis on va toujours aider tout le monde. Mais la réalité, c'est que des fois, on perd beaucoup d'énergie avec ceux qui ne veulent pas tant. Pourquoi on ne travaillerait pas avec ceux qui sont là et qui ont du feu? Puis tant mieux si les autres suivent. Puis comprenez ce que je veux dire? Fait que c'est pas de délaisser personne, mais c'est juste, tu as une liane qui est forte, vas-y, all in. Vraiment, là. Fait que c'est vraiment ça. So, amazing, amazing, amazing. Est-ce qu'on a d'autres questions?
I'm just going to talk because I love to talk. And I love you, Abby. So what I have few words that they were my golden nugget: educate, discipline, team, relationship, burning desire. If I can resume everything that you said, it's in those 5 words.
That's good.
And I really love when you said people will follow your pace.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes, you post less, you do less, and you're like, hey, how come I don't have business? How come people don't come talk to me? And it's so true. And it really popped it out in my head. Like, yeah, you have to do it. You have to be there. Why? Because people will follow your pace. And I really loved it. Mm-hmm. Right now, I'm in a state of in my business where I need to build a business. Like, I need to have the mini me under me. And I want, if you have like few keys that you can share with me. I have good volume. I almost have rank 4 yesterday, but it was missing 2%. 2%. And I had my rank 4. But I don't see that missing. It's just, for me in my head, it's like I have it because I did the work. I just quit my job. I just quit my job to do Prove It full time and working with my husband and whatever. I have a big vision, and right now I want to build my team. And I know I have others here as well that it would be benefit them. And so what will be your takeaway to start off and build a team?
Yeah. Thank you. And I loved the points you pulled out. Good listener. So I'm just thinking through your situation. And yesterday, last day of the month, do you have 1 or 2 teammates that were reaching for a rank that day as well? Yes. Did you guys get on a Zoom together that morning or that day?
No.
Okay, no problem. I think that's a great practice. A rank 4, I think it kind of means you may have 1 or 2, right? That are also building. So 1, you can get to 6 with 1 if they're on fire, right? but
She
it's like
is. She's right there.
Which one? What name?
Mode.
Oh, mode.
She did great.
All right.
She did great too.
So between the two of you, you needed to sell about 5-6 more boxes of ketones together. Maybe. So, and I think strategically, looking at where you were last month in your back office, where was volume and I try to post volume, there's a reason I post everybody's volume at the end of every week. It gets in a rhythm. Even myself, this month, my volume was low, and I could have told you that at the second week, because I know the rhythm of the volume that I try to get at least to hit my share pool and MVP qualifier. So making sure you understand your business, and, it may be on like the 16th, you've got at least 8 smart ships that are going to pull. And this is getting down into details, but it's strategy when you're trying to rank up to know the rhythm of the month, where smart ships pull, where they're heavy. You can kind of at the end of each month work backwards into the next month. Be like, okay, figure out how much volume you were short of. Okay. And then how can you make up for that in this next month? Now, obviously, if Maud just got 1 promoter this month and you guys worked together to help that promoter hit MVP, that's an extra 2,000 in volume, or you guys will make up for what you were short on if you both got in a promoter and helped them hit MVP. And guys, it always comes back to go pro, go MVP. If you're both finding, and as a team, that's kind of a commitment, and that's where it can be stressful, but that's where it can be community and it can be fun. At the end of each month, you guys need to have your group have a business meeting. Check in at the middle of the month. And that's not, Chantel, that's not even your upline. If you want to rank up, it's your team. It's your runners, I think people have success when they stop really looking up. Like, it's not Mick, it's not Camille, it's Chantel, and it's Maud right now. And they've got a goal, and they're linked, and they're running together. And they've got a strategic plan to bring in another promoter. Chantel's on every 3-way connect messenger with Maud. Their intention is to find that diamond in the rough customer and have that business conversation with them. Because if they could add 1 more to their pack this month, where will they be in 2 months? It's a long-term game, but it's strategic, it's patient, and you guys will build a bond as you're on the same goal and trajectory together. And before you know it, Maud has a team of 6 people who all hit MVP. She's a rank 6. And Chantel, you tripled your income that you left your job at. So that's working backwards, understanding your business. And, that last day of the month, if you're that close, you guys need to set aside a power hour together where you're getting those 4 boxes and you're not, when I hit 10 that night, there was about I'd say 8 people working their butts off with their teams to scrape up that last bit of volume so somebody could rank up. And without that going on, there's no way I would have ever hit that. So.
Oh,
Thanks.
thank you.
Yeah, thank you a lot. And this is exactly how I see the things to work with Chantal. And we already have some strategy that we're working together. So we're exactly on the good way. Thanks a lot.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Great. Gave me chills. You guys can do it. You can do it. Build your team. Hire your company.
I will just say some word in French. Il y a une chose qu'elle a dit, puis moi, ça m'a fait vraiment vibrer. C'est arrêter de regarder en haut, puis regarder ce qui se passe en dessous de vous. Puis s'il y a une chose qui fait qu'on a atteint le rang 6, le rang 7, c'est qu'on a arrêté de regarder en haut, puis on s'est mis à regarder en bas. Puis on a travaillé là où le feu était. Puis les personnes ici qui ont eu un nouveau rang, une nouvelle étoile, pensez-y, là, de façon instinctive, c'est ça que vous avez fait. Vous avez donné de l'énergie à votre équipe. Vous avez été voir des clients. C'est vraiment comme ça que ça se passe. Les leaders sont là pour vous aider, vous soutenir, vous donner un pep, mais c'est à vous, les leaders, de développer ce qui est en dessous de vous, puis éventuellement passer le flambeau. Puis justement, d'avoir ce zoom-là, ça vous permet de comprendre que quand on est les leaders qui vous demandent comment je peux faire pour te supporter, c'est ça qu'on veut faire. Des fois, je dis ça à des gens, ils sont comme, ben, je suis correct. Non, non, tu n'es pas correct. Il y a quelque chose que je peux faire, c'est sûr. Dis-moi pas que tu es correct. Qu'est-ce qu'on peut faire mieux? So, yes, thank you, Abby.
I got one more thing I want to add to that, because I see this, because it's our culture. I don't know if it's your culture as much as it's our culture, but we get into a victim mentality real fast in America.
Yes. In Canada too.
Okay. And I see this take people out of this business. And when I remember hitting 10, I don't even remember Brian James being in kind of my life at the time. I don't remember him even being on the call. And I look at him fondly as an amazing leader, mentor, brother. He didn't have to be a part of my life then. He linked arms with me when I asked him to in the beginning. And then he went and he built another line. Sylvia, Christina, Katie Rollins. Okay. He wasn't there at that time. And if I would have been victimizing myself on, oh, he's helping her, oh, she passed me, you know, it was those girls that he had been working with that came into my life years later when I was stuck at a rank 8 and we all went on vacation together, and they opened up their books to me with new strategies and coaching and like that woman support that I needed. And that's when I hit a rank 10. So Brian's attention and work with these girls in the business actually came back around full circle to help me get to where I needed to go. Isn't that funny? And so if you sit there and you, in your head, tell the story, nobody's helping me, I'm all alone in this business. Do you think Brian Underwood was helping me at that time? He was a little busy running the company, Prove It. Okay. Like, you can't get in that mentality of, I have no upline, I have no coach. There's people swimming around all the time trying to find new sponsors, new coaches, new teams. It will never have anything to do with the people above you. If they're a good coach, they get you started. Like we talked about, they link arms, they taproot a little. but you have to be willing to carry the baton and become the CEO of your business. And that relationship has to go from mentorship to partners. So it's a Mick, here's what I'm thinking about doing for my team. What do you think? And Mick says, awesome. Let me know how I can help. You know, it's not going to Mick, hey, how can I get to the right? That's not the relationship anymore. It's Mick, here's what I'm doing in my business. Here's where she's at. Here's the coaching I've been doing with her. I'm a little stumped on the coaching to do with this one. What do you think? Like, it's a pure relationship when you're at the point, I think, when you're breaking into those pro ranks.
Très, honnêtement, ça mérite la translation. Elle disait, si j'avais rentré dans le victime state, là, dans l'aspect de la victimisation dans ma tête quand j'ai eu mon rang 10, à ce moment-là, Brian James n'était pas nécessairement avec elle pour l'aider à développer sa business, parce qu'on s'entend qu'à ce moment-là, quand tu es rendu quasiment rang 10, tu sais comment runner ta business. Mais il était occupé à développer d'autres filles. À ce moment-là, Sylvia, Katie Rowland. Puis sur le coup, elle aurait pu se dire « Ah, Brian James n'est pas avec moi pour m'aider, moi, à développer. Il est en train de développer d'autres femmes. » Mais c'est ces femmes-là qui, quelques mois plus tard, quand elle était stock, quand elle était pognée à son rang 8, c'est ces femmes-là que Brian James a développées, qui l'ont aidé à débarrer une clé et à ensuite atteindre son rang 10. Donc, au lieu de voir ça en victime, de dire « Oh mon Dieu, mon leader est en train d'aider quelqu'un d'autre à développer sa business », voyez-le comme « OK, comment je peux faire peut-être des fois pour me connecter à ces autres branches-là pour qu'on s'élève. » Tu sais, le meilleur exemple que j'ai en ce moment, c'est Mel et Chantal, qui sont continuellement en train de se challenger dans le volume, dans le ci, dans le ça. Puis juste de s'entraider, des fois, c'est ce qui fait que vous allez évoluer. Puis c'est ça, Prove It, au final. C'est pas une compétition, c'est comment qu'on peut faire pour tout le monde s'entraider puis monter au top. Parce qu'on veut tout être au top. On veut tout être badass, puis on veut tout atteindre des nouveaux rangs.
Je parenthèse là-dessus parce que c'est vraiment ce qu'on fait, Mel et moi. On se challenge, on s'en va nos volumes. C'est vraiment une compétition saine, là. On se challenge pour se dépasser, mais on s'entraide et on essaie des fois de s'envoyer des choses pour nous motiver.
So, do we have another question or it's a wrap?
Je veux faire ici.
Ici, dans mon bureau, non.
Don't be intimidated by the big, bad Abby.
Marianne.
Yes, hello.
Hello.
I'm not really good to talk in English too, but I want to go out of my comfort zone. So thank you, Abby. I'm really happy to see you. I not really know you, but now it's very good to know more about you. So I just want to say thank you to you and merci à Camille. Thank you, Camille. Puis that's it. Like a rhino.
Thank you. You guys know better English than I know French, so you can't sound wrong to me.
Good.
It's brave.
Thank you.
Marianne just hit the rank 2 yesterday. And
Yeah.
she was very close to her MVP multiplier.
Oh, yes.
Nice.
Close.
Mm-hmm.
I worked at the dernière minute, je sais plus comment on dit en anglais.
Last minute.
I worked at the last minute.
That's awesome.
Nice. Yes.
That is great.
And I'm gonna do work today for that.
Double it this month.
Yes. Yeah. I'm gonna create the momentum.
Yep.
Because I got the burning desire.
I can feel that.
Yeah.
So I think it's the end. So again, thank you, Abby, for your time, for your sharing. And
I love talking with you guys.
I'm so proud to be a part of in your team, and hope to see you soon.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. Love you guys.